Hello, 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 hello. How are you? This is Els coming from Bemis Crafty Corner, and today we're going to do something a little bit different. This is a kind of a Tim Holtz dupe. So there are these. I don't know what the heck they're called. Word chips or something like that, you know? But I think there's like 20 of them in a set. Fantastic. Except not always words you want to use. Drift. Okay? You get it? Some of the words are not what you would want to use. So, we're going to make these ourselves. And I have to tell you, I finally found the use for something of Tim Holtz that prior to this, I was like, what are you supposed to do with these things? So I'm going to get out all the supplies, and I'll be right back, and we're going to go through these real quick. Be right back. So what do we need for this one? A paper trimmer, some black ink, some brown ink, some daubers, and these things here. If you don't know what these are called Tim Holtz pocket cards, okay? And here's my thing. I got these like 2 years ago. I've never used a single one of them. And I'll tell you why. Because they're printed on both sides. So you got printing on this side and printing on that side. So what can you do with these? You know what I mean? And it's all of them. And there's 3 sizes in the package. And basically, you know, they're printed on both sides. And you really can't do anything with them because really? So, I have been looking for a project that we could do with these, and I think I finally found something that we can do with them. So, you're going to want these. And you're going to want this. This is a Word doc. You'll find it in my Google Drive. There is a link in the description below for this. And it is one of those links, you know, where if you have the link, you get it kind of thing. I'll also be putting a copy of this in my Patreon for my Patreon members. And over on my Ko-Fi for everybody else, okay? You can print it on white paper, blue paper, green paper, whatever color paper you want, coffee dyed paper, tea dyed paper, whatever you want to print it on, and you can use it. So I'm going to get some stuff out of the way here, not much, but I'll be right back, and we're going to start breaking this down. I'll be right back. I want to start by getting this down to a workable size. So I'm just going to kind of slice my pages in half. Making sure that I leave enough room, top and bottom, of where I cut to be able to trim it out. Okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and trim out the bottom. Get this trimmed off because I don't need that. Alright, trim off the excess on the sides. And we just want to get, you know, a decent border all the way around these. Now, if you would like to use something a little bit fancier, you could certainly use a punch if you have, you know, like something like this that you want to use. You could do that. And then I'm just going to cut these into strips, leaving, you know, a decent amount top and bottom. Until I get them all cut out. So go cut your stuff up and then come back and then, you know, we'll move on. I'll be right back. Now that we have these all cut down into strips, you want to kind of trim off the piece you want. And because some of them are, you know, some of the words are longer than others, you may want to trim the ends here a little bit. Down to a workable size. And then once you have these all trimmed out the way you want them, and you can use your scissors if you want to. You don't have to use a trimmer. There we go. So once you have these, what you're going to do is ink the edges of these. And, you know, ink across the tops if you want to have more ink on there, however you want to do it. And then we're going to get ready to start assembling. So go ahead and cut out the ones that you want to work with, get them inked up, and then I'll be right back and we'll move on to the next step, which involves those pocket cards. Okay? So I'll be right back. Alright, so once we have all these cut out and we have them all inked up, the next thing is to, you know, kind of pick and choose what we're going to do with them. So I'm going to use one of these big ones because that's probably the easiest way. And I'm just going to kind of go through and pick one out. And then I'm going to start gluing these on. Now I want to make sure I leave a border all the way around on each one, so I'm going to be a little strategic on where I put these. And the direction doesn't matter. I just want to make sure that I leave a little bit of space all the way around for each one. And I want to leave probably at least 1/4 of an inch, you know. So 1/4 of an inch for each one means I want to put about 1/2 inch in between them. Now once you're done with this part, you could just leave them on this card and then, you know, cut them out as you need them. Or you can just cut them all out, you know, at once and put them in, you know, wherever you store your ephemera. So I'm just going to get these all glued down, and then we're going to go ahead and start cutting these apart. One last one, and then we can start cutting. Alright, so I'm going to put these on. I'm going to let this dry completely, and when I come back, we're going to cut them up. I'll be right back. Alright, so now that these are all glued and dried, we're going to start to cut them apart. Now these cuts are not going to be even. we're going to get them all cut apart. And once we have them all cut apart, then we're going to take a look at trying to, you know, even them up a little bit. And we are probably going to be using our scissors for that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll be right back. All right, so I'm going to start by trimming these, you know, any that are together, I'm going to trim apart. And then I'm just going to kind of trim these down to the size that I want them to be. Once I have them at a workable size, then I'll go ahead and start to ink. So I'm going to trim all these down. And you can use your trimmer for this if you need to, or you can do it by hand. See, I don't like that one. That one's a little wide at the top. Much better. Okay. Now, some of these, when you cut them, they're going to be really long on one side because the word above it was probably longer. And you may not have glued them all down straight, so they may look a little wonky. So just use your scissors to straighten them out a little bit. And they don't have to be perfect. That's the beauty of this. Okay? Does not have to be perfect. Go with that one just a little bit thinner there. Now, you can round the corners on these if you want to, or you can leave them square. It's entirely up to you. But I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of these cut out, and then when I come back, we'll go ahead and get them inked. I'll be right back. So now that these are all cut out, the next step is to go ahead and ink them. And I like the black on it, but you could certainly ink it in any color that you want. And you don't have to use, you know, these pocket cards. You could use anything that you want. You could use a piece of scrapbook paper, or you know, maybe something that you collaged as a background. Maybe some Franken paper. I don't know. Whatever it is you want to use. We'll go ahead and get these all inked up, and then once they're all inked up, I can put them in my stash. And have them to use on projects. So this is a great make-ahead. And every one of them is going to be different, because even if you're using the same word, the background might be different, you know? So, I'm going to go ahead and finish these up. When I come back, we'll take a look at them all done and move on from there. I'll be right back. All right, so these are the originals. These ones here, okay? And these are the ones we just did. You really can't tell very much of the difference. These are on a white background, ours are on tea stain, but you know, other than that, it's really hard to tell the difference between one and the other. So, you certainly could use book page as opposed to these pocket cards. You could use a piece of scrapbook paper, you could use a piece of solid colored paper. You can use anything that you want and create something that you can use over and over and over, and create it ahead of time so that you have it, and then just take it and add it to your stash, however, you know, you store your stuff. Just add it in, okay? That's it. That's all I have for you today. If you're new here, go ahead and hit the button for me and subscribe. We'd really love to have you as a member of the channel. And check out the community tab here on the YouTube channel, or over on my Facebook group. There's links in the description. You could also go over to my Ko-Fi. That's where you're going to be able to find this graphic, these words. And you don't have to use these. You can use any words that you want. And you could certainly do this with like quotes and things. That would also work really well. Or you could become a member of my Patreon. Again, that will be available there. And there's also a link in the description below directly to the Google Drive. Okay? That's it. That's all I have until I see you again. Stay well, my friends. Bye-bye.